Hey everybody, this is John. Welcome to the free video. So, what's interesting here is that within the context of the NASDAQ, we've done a whole lot of nothing since about the last week in July, even through, and last week was great. I mean, hey, we got 3 trending days in a row, and in this particular market, that's like might as well be a long-term trend. And so the question here is that are we going to be able to pop up here to 148.95 in the Qs, which is the next target, or is there something more sinister taking shape where this thing could really implode? And also keep in mind too that there's other asset classes out there that are being played around with, Bitcoin namely. Now, I've talked about GBTC before. This is not an accurate reflection of Bitcoin. It's supposed to be trading 1/10 the value of Bitcoin, and either people just don't understand it or people get caught and there's just not enough shares there. But this thing, it's supposed to be trading at about 450 bucks, 1/10 the price of Bitcoin, and it's just going absolutely insane. So keep in mind that there are other asset classes that are kind of taking in funds, and you're also seeing at this point a flight to quality. We're seeing money going into gold. We are seeing money going into bonds, okay? Most notably, we're seeing money here, not money, but we're seeing a squeeze setting up in, not in Y, in the yen, okay? And you can see this daily squeeze here. If this thing triggers to the upside, which at this point it's showing that it wants to, the markets are going to implode. The correlation with the yen futures right now, okay, and the stock market is completely inverse. And this going higher indicates a risk off in a big way, all right, which brings us back to the stock indexes where, okay, we're continuing here to butt up against this snow line here, and this is one of those things that it couldn't get through here, all right? It came up here and got rejected, put up an island reversal, and although we're still fairly constructive here, if that yen fires off to the upside, then this thing is going to get whacked. And so today we're setting up trades, what I call $1,000 trades. Like, let's look at for 10-lot trades, a little bit shorter term, couple hours, but since we're not seeing any trends that are lasting more than like a day, really dialing back until that yen triggers, and when that does, we're going to have a big move. I'm looking for a downside move, but if that yen does trigger short, then we're going to be going to the upside. So it's a little bit of a hurry up and wait environment, but the patience will pay off, because when that does trigger, it's going to be a trend that lasts quite a bit. So part of what I'm going to be looking at in this environment is some of the shorter term stuff that I call $1,000 trades, right? How do you make $1,000 with 10 option contracts? And part of this is going to be drilling down some smaller term time frames and catching what I would just call volume reversals. Okay, so if we can get momentum and conviction to the downside, great. Let's sell some call credit spreads, buy some puts, and then when it dries up, that's fine. And that's like in Facebook. But where this really comes in handy, and I was talking about the yen earlier, is that we can see volume coming in there. All right, and what happens in a situation like this is that when you see volume, in this case to the downside in the end, this happens first, and then the stock market recovers. Okay, and you can see how clearly this fell, right? Well, then if you go over here to the NASDAQ, you're going to see it was more of a warming up process. Like, it took a while for stocks to kind of gain their footing, and then finally they started to go. Well, guess what? The yen goes first, okay? The yen goes first, and this just becomes a very critical thing to look at intraday, and you can see that this is immediate, right? It's immediate. It's coming down. There's volume, there's conviction, there's momentum, and then this translates into stocks like 5 and 10 minutes later. So that's something that's been very useful in this kind of environment. Or if we look at the S&Ps, and you can see after hours they're selling off here again, going back to the yen. Looking at the different movements, and when you see it's just kind of yellow here on a 30-minute chart, that's stuff we want to stay out of. That's super choppy. We want to avoid that. But on the other hand, if you see some massive volume coming into this, and we saw this today with Cena, you can see that it just can keep going and going and going and blowing through all its various targets. So if you're interested in this tool, especially for this kind of a market, you can go to simplertrading.com/bars. It'll take you to this page, and there's a couple different things. First of all, the 10x bar indicator, it's a combination of two things. We've got a couple, like 4 different things working together to tell us if a bar is momentum to the downside, momentum to the upside, or stay away. Okay, red, green, yellow. And then there's another piece of this that looks for unusual activity based on that particular time of day for that particular stock. That's what we call conviction. And when we get momentum plus conviction, that is when we get greater than expected moves. Okay, and we've got this indicator built for Thinkorswim, for TradeStation, for TradingView, okay, which is handy because if you don't have, if you've got a broker that doesn't really allow for programming of indicators, that's a great one to do. And NinjaTrader. And if you don't have any of those platforms, but you're still intrigued by this, we've also built this into our scanner. And as you scroll down on the page, you'll see how we've got it tied into our scanner and everything like that too, which is great. So the 2 indicators right now, if you're seeing this, I believe it is something like 50% off the indicator over the next 48 hours. You can go there, you can grab it and get going, and you'll see all the trades that we're doing in that. And also, if you're interested in the scanner as well, you can scroll down there and see that. simplertrading.com/bars. Pretty awesome stuff. We've had, as you guys know, we've developed and released various tools based on the nature of the markets, and the longer we spend with the markets, the more feedback we get from clients, the better intuition we can use in creating these tools. And this one is, from the feedback that we've gotten, is a top 2 or 3, in some cases the top indicator that they've found in their experience in terms of immediate results and being able to kind of track not only the momentum but the conviction in a market. It's all about whether the stock's going to have an expected move or a greater than expected move, and it's easy to see in hindsight, but this is something that can tell you in real time, which is amazing. All right, hope it helps. You guys have a good one, and we'll see you at the next update.